Discover the incredible story that changed 100 lives. Hidden truths of African love revealed. Every Saturday, Jamal's barbershop overflowed with chatter and laughter, where childhood friends and neighbors spilled stories like they were passing the sweet tea. It was a sacred space, a second home. No one walked in without a warm smile or a cheerful hello. Here, their dreams were shaped, just like their hair. But now, a storm brewed over Atlanta's vibrant streets. The shadow of a wealthy developer loomed large, threatening to erase everything Jamal held dear. "Things are changing, Jamal," his neighbor Miss Clara whispered, her face a canvas of worry. She sat in his chair, her gray hair glimmering in the sunlight, the only evidence of her many battles. "They're coming for our homes." Each word resonated deep in him, tightening his chest. He loved these people. They were family. They were laughter, tears, and heart. Now, that very heart was at risk, ready to be ripped out by gentrification. "Miss Clara, we'll fight this," he promised, though doubt lingered in his mind like a stubborn shadow. Yet with every passing day, resistance blossomed. Jamal felt it ignite within him, fueled by the community's passion. They gathered in the shop, voices rising a chorus of anger and hope. The stories flowed freely, inspiring Jamal to unearth forgotten tales of his ancestors. Stories steeped in struggle, resilience, and love. As he cut hair, he shared these stories too. The legend of his great-grandfather, who stood firm against oppression, echoed off the walls, blending with laughter and camaraderie. Their strength ignited a collective fire, reminding Jamal that he wasn't just a barber. He was a guardian of their history, their hopes. Each snip of scissors felt like a declaration, and with every brush of hair that fell to the ground, he felt history and love pouring through him. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The developer approached him one day, offering riches that sparkled like diamonds, but felt like stones when he held onto them. "You could change your life, Jamal," he said, grinning like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yet with every number he heard, Jamal felt a weight heavier than gold. How could he do this to his community? To the loyal faces who trusted him? Standing alone on that chilly sidewalk, surrounded by thoughts, he realized the choice was clear. It wasn't about the shiny lure of wealth. It was about legacy, solidarity, the spirit of what it meant to belong. Would he let greed pull him from the roots of love and unity? Jamal inhaled deeply, letting the weight of those stories stir his heart. He needed to rally them together, fight this good fight together. Time was running out. He had a moment to decide, stand and fight or fall to temptation, risking all they had built. And all their futures hung in the balance, creating a tension that felt so palpable he could almost reach out and touch it. Would he rise to this challenge and heal the community he loved, or would he let it slip away, forever altering their lives? Jamal stood outside his barbershop, wrestling with the weight of the world on his shoulders. The sounds of laughter and conversation poured out like sunlight from within, yet all he felt was the coldness of uncertainty. His heartbeat thudded like a drum, echoing reminders of the community he loved so dearly. "Jamal!" The cheerful voice of Malik, his young apprentice, broke through the haze of worry. With a bounce in his step, Malik rushed to him, his bright smile lighting up the darkening sky. "Did you see the news? The neighborhood is buzzing. Everyone is talking about organizing a town hall meeting." "A town hall?" Jamal raised an eyebrow, interest piqued. "What's the plan?" Malik's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We want to gather everyone. Not just in the barbershop but the whole neighborhood. We have to show them that we can fight back. We can't let this developer take our homes." That spark of hope ignited something in Jamal's heart. All he needed was a little push, and this young man was perfect for it. "You might be onto something," he replied, a smile creeping onto his face. "Let us set it up. We'll make sure everyone knows they are not alone. Word spread like wildfire. Flyers went up on telephone poles, messages ricocheted through social media, and soon the barbershop was alive with the hum of excitement. Each person added their voice, a collective symphony of determination. They planned the details late into the night, over cups of strong coffee and shared laughter. Jamal felt the weight begin to ease, replaced by the warmth of camaraderie. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the streets in hues of orange and purple, Jamal looked around. His barber shop was a sea of familiar faces, young and old, stories interwoven, like threads of a well-worn quilt. At that moment, he realized it wasn't just about fighting a developer. It was about protecting the essence of their lives together. "Listen up," Jamal called, his voice rising above the chatter. "This isn't just a meeting. This is our chance to stand united. Each one of you has a story worth sharing. It's time we show them what this community really is." Applause erupted, filling the small space with energy that vibrated through his very core. They exchanged stories, not just of their struggles but of their dreams, hopes punctuated with laughter, and moments of triumph that defined who they were. Just as they forged a plan to confront the developer, Jamal received an unexpected message. His hands trembled slightly as he opened the text, the name flashing across the screen taking him by surprise: Aaliyah. Her name brought back a rush of memories, laughter, long conversations that stretched into the night, dreams exchanged over ice cream cones as they wandered the familiar streets when they were younger. But they had drifted apart, life nudging them in different directions. "Is she coming back to town?" Jamal muttered to himself, the question looming large. Malik walked over, noticing the change in his mentor's demeanor. "Everything good?" "I think so. Everyone deserves a chance to return home," Jamal replied, a hopeful smile on his face. The next evening, they gathered in the community center, the air thick with anticipation. Faces lit up as more people arrived, old friends embracing, and a new energy filled the room. Yet, amidst the excitement, Jamal couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental loomed nearby. As they began, the door swung open with a creak, revealing a familiar figure. Aaliyah stepped into the light, her eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on Jamal. A wave of emotions washed over him: nostalgia, warmth, confusion mingled and churned within him. "Jamal," she breathed, taking a step forward, the murmurs of the crowd fading into a whisper. What did her presence mean for the fight ahead? Would this reunion bolster their cause, or complicate everything? Together, they stood on the brink of something big, facing a fight, and now an unexpected twist in the story of their lives. Would love rekindle amidst the struggle, or would old wounds reopen? The question hung in the air, thick and electrified, as all eyes turned to them in eager anticipation. Aaliyah took a deep breath, her expression a mix of determination and vulnerability. Jamal's heart raced as memories rushed in, days filled with laughter, dreams whispered over late-night phone calls, and the bittersweet ache of what could have been. "Aaliyah?" he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. The room was still, the anticipation palpable. Malik, standing by Jamal's side, shifted nervously, sensing the weight of the moment. "I didn't know you were back," Jamal continued, his voice shaking slightly. "What brings you here?" Aaliyah's gaze locked onto his, the intensity of her stare grounding him. "I heard about the meeting, about everything that's happening. I couldn't just stay away. This place matters too much to me," she explained, her voice steady. "There's so much at stake, and I want to help." Just then, a wave of murmurs cascaded through the crowd, a flood of curiosity and excitement. The community had always cherished Aaliyah, their beloved daughter who had ventured away but never truly left their hearts. They were eager to hear what she'd say next. "Maybe we need someone like you," Malik interjected, breaking the tension as he stepped forward. "You know how to organize and motivate. You always did." Jamal felt the spark of hope flicker to life again. Aaliyah had a gift for bringing people together. Yet shadows of doubt lingered. Would she truly fight for the community she had distanced herself from? "What do you want to do?" Jamal asked, his tone a blend of hope and reservation. The developer might not be easy to push back. I know. But together, we have a chance, she said, her voice strong. We need to tell our stories. We need to show them that this isn't just about houses or land, it's about a life we've built together. This is our home. Jamal exchanged glances with Malik, both men struck by her fervor. The community was alive with whispers of agreement and encouragement, their faces aglow with shared purpose. In that moment, Jamal realized this was more than an old friend returning. It was a reunion meant to ignite their fight. As the meeting progressed, they laid plans to showcase their stories. Each tale would be a thread woven into a larger narrative, a tapestry of resilience and hope. Aaliyah coordinated with passion, her natural leadership shining through as she divided roles, assigned tasks, and encouraged everyone to share their history, pride, and pain. Later, Jamal found himself alone for a moment, absorbing the electricity in the room, the energy pulsing with renewed spirit. He watched Aaliyah laugh with some familiar faces, sharing stories as if no time had passed. Yet the lines of their lives had diverged. Could old feelings resurface in the midst of this turmoil? You good? Malik's voice pulled him from his thoughts, concern etching his features. Just thinking, Jamal replied, glancing back at Aaliyah. About how fragile everything is. We're standing on the edge of something big, but the wrong move could lead to a fall. Or a flight, Malik countered, grinning. What if this is our moment? Everyone needs to feel like they're seen, heard, and valued. You and Aaliyah can show them that. Jamal felt a swell of uncertainty and excitement at the thought. They were all in for a fight, but the deeper he got into this yearning for community and connection, the more complex the emotions became. As the night drew to a close, voices swirled around him, the promise of change thickening in the air. But just as he felt a glimmer of hope, Jamal saw Aaliyah looking at him with an intensity that suggested they would have to confront more than just the developer. There were feelings resurfacing, unspoken truths waiting to erupt. What's next for us? He whispered to himself, the weight of past decisions crashing over him like a wave. He glanced at Aaliyah again, wondering if a new chapter could truly begin in their story, or if it was destined to repeat the past. The room was electric, focus shifting toward the future, but Jamal couldn't escape the lingering questions in his heart. Could love thrive in the middle of their fight, or would it complicate everything? With uncertainty swirling and old feelings reigniting, Jamal took a deep breath, knowing one thing for sure. The battle for the community was only just beginning, and so was the fight for his heart. Jamal leaned against the cold wall, the chatter around him transforming into a distant hum. Aaliyah was in the thick of it, captivated souls surrounding her, hanging on her every word. He was proud of her, yet a churning mix of emotions clawed at his insides. Memories flooded back of their simpler days, sun-drenched laughter echoing through the neighborhood streets, moments when life felt uncomplicated. Hey man! Malik nudged Jamal again, pulling him back to reality. You should talk to her. What do I say? Jamal replied, not quite meeting Malik's gaze. Things between us, they're complicated. Sure, but you've got history together. Malik's eyes sparkled with mischief. Maybe you've got a shot at a future too. The idea made Jamal's heart thump faster. What if they could navigate the treacherous waters of both love and the fight for their community? Look at her, Jamal, Malik urged, gesturing toward Aaliyah. She's back because of this place. And maybe it's a sign? Jamal felt the walls of doubt begin to crack. He pushed off the wall, dusting himself off, as confidence surged. He might not have all the answers, but he was ready to act. As he approached the small gathering around Aaliyah, he caught fragments of the conversation, stories of neighbors who had fought for their homes, memories carved into every brick lining the streets. Each tale was powerful, yet painful, and Jamal feared that once he stepped into that circle, he would be swept away by feelings long buried. Aaliyah, he said, interrupting the laughter, the warmth spilling from the group. She turned, her expression shifting from surprise to recognition, and finally settling on something akin to relief. Jamal! I'm glad you're here. Her smile was infectious, lighting up the dimly lit room. Can we talk? he asked, swallowing the growing lump in his throat. Of course, Aaliyah replied, stepping away from the group, her gaze unwavering and earnest. They found a quieter corner, the noise a soft backdrop to their bubble of anxiety and possibility. I know we haven't had the best history, Jamal started, his voice steady despite the racing heart. But I believe in what you're doing here. You're making a difference. She nodded, appreciation shining in her eyes. It's what we've always done, right? Fight for what we love. But there was something unspoken lingering in the air, the connection between them crackling with unresolved tension. And what about us? Jamal could hardly get the words out, fear threading through him. I feel like there is still something worth exploring, even with everything happening. Aaliyah looked down for a moment, her breath catching in her throat. When her eyes met his again, they were fierce and vulnerable all at once. I've always cared about you, Jamal. But things aren't simple anymore. The crowd began to thin, and Jamal felt the weight of her words, the gravity of their past, wedding itself to the uncertainty of their future. Maybe we can make them simple, he offered. Side by side. We're in this fight together, right? Her lips twisted in a thoughtful smile. Together, yes. But a relationship? With everything we're facing, I don't know. Neither do I, he admitted, a nervous chuckle escaping his lips. But I'm willing to figure it out. Aaliyah studied him, her eyes softening. Maybe that's all we can ask for. One step at a time. But promise me one thing, let us keep this focus on the community. He nodded, understanding her need for boundaries even amidst their shared turmoil. As they stood there, an uneasy peace washing over them, Malik appeared in the background, anxiously glancing around, his expression signaling something was amiss. Guys, Malik interrupting their moment. We might want to focus up again. There's something happening by the park that could change everything. The words hung heavy in the air, and Jamal felt the rush of adrenaline course through him once more. What now? Aaliyah asked, urgency lighting her eyes. It's the developer, Malik said, his voice edged with alarm. They're trying to push through something tonight. We need to gather everyone fast. Jamal and Aaliyah exchanged a quick glance. The urgency of the moment pressed on their shoulders, and the complexities of their feelings faded into the background. Let us go, Jamal said, determination flooding his voice as they hurried to regroup. In that instant, they were no longer just fighting for a community, they were fighting for each other. As they headed towards the chaos unfolding outside, one question clung to Jamal's mind: what would happen when they truly confronted the tangled web of hope, heartache, and unspoken truths? As they burst through the door, the cool night air hit them like a wave. Outside, the energy of the crowd pulsated. Neighbors stood in clusters, uncertainty etched on their faces as they exchanged hurried whispers. The park had transformed into the beating heart of their community's struggle, the urgent cries for justice resonating through the dim light. Jamal! Aaliyah! Their names rang out from different directions, people beckoning for their attention, their presence suddenly a spark in the powder keg of emotions. Malik took the lead, rushing over to an older gentleman, Mr. Thompson, who seemed to be rallying the crowd. Everyone! Gather around! Mr. Thompson's voice called out, steady and commanding. We've got to stand united tonight. They want to bulldoze over our homes, but we won't let them. Jamal's heart raced. This was at the moment everything they loved could slip through their fingers. He joined Malik and Aaliyah at Mr. Thompson's side, falling into a familiar rhythm that once thrived amid simpler days. He inhaled deeply, hoping to harness some poise, and turned to Aaliyah. If we're going to do this, he whispered, we need to be ready. We can't lose sight of what's at stake. She nodded, voice tinged with resolve. We have to remind everyone why we're fighting. Our homes aren't just buildings, they're memories, they're our roots. Aaliyah stepped forward, drawing attention with her commanding presence. Listen! She shouted, her voice slicing through the murmurs. The crowd quieted, collective breaths drawn tight like strings on a violin. We've fought so hard to keep our community alive. This fight isn't just about what happens tomorrow. It's about every single one of us, our families, Our children who deserve to grow up in a place that loves them back. Applause erupted, camaraderie lighting up the crowd's face. Jamal wrapped his hand over Aaliyah's arm, a silent acknowledgement of her courage. They were fortifying more than just their community. They were weaving their history together again. But they knew the battle was far from over. As they strategized, plans took shape to confront the developers. Malik began to divide people into teams, some to spread the word, others to gather data on how many families would be affected. Jamal's pulse throbbed as he watched the community rally, disbelief mingling with pride. "Jamal, can you take our younger crowd and start preparing something for the rally?" Malik proposed, urgency edging his voice. "Of course," Jamal replied. He looked at Aaliyah, and their eyes met with an intensity that spoke volumes. They were both terrified of what loomed ahead, but their unity gave them strength. As they moved into motion, children and teens gravitated toward Jamal, listening intently. He prepped them, sharing ideas of how they could voice their thoughts and feelings creatively. All the while, the undercurrent of Aaliyah's earlier words rang clear in his mind. One step at a time. He stole glances at her, watching as she coordinated strategies with Mr. Thompson. The spark between them ignited anew with each passing moment. There was power in their shared purpose, but what simmered under the surface was uncertain. Could they still navigate these feelings amidst the storm threatening their home? Just as they seemed to coalesce into a united front, a series of headlights pierced the dark. Several cars rolled up to the park entrance. The shadows of stern faces emerged from the vehicles, speaking volumes with their looming presence. Jamal's heart sank as he recognized the faces of the developers, clipboard in hand, ready to impose decisions that could shatter their world. "Get ready!" Jamal shouted, adrenaline pumping through him once more as he turned back to the group. As tension hung heavy in the air, Aaliyah joined his side, determination simmering in her gaze. "We can't back down now. No matter what happens, we're in this together." Jamal nodded, resolve blending into courage. They were no longer just fighting for the community, they were confronting everything they shared, each silent promise igniting amid the chaos. What they didn't realize was just how deep this fight would go, and what hidden truths would unfold when they faced the very people threatening their world. Would their bond withstand the looming confrontation? Or would the weight of unspoken words prove too heavy to bear? The air crackled with tension as the headlights swept through the park, illuminating faces painted with worry and fierce determination. Jamal felt a knot form in his stomach, each throb matching the relentless beat of his heart. The developers stepped out of their cars, tall and imposing, as if they had descended from another world, a world where homes were just properties and communities were nothing but lines on a map. "Steady, everyone," Jamal urged the young folks around him. They were moments away from a confrontation that could change everything. They had to hold their ground. Aaliyah stepped closer, the fire in her eyes matching the urgency around them. "We need to show them that we are not afraid. Not now. Not ever." Beside her, Jamal could feel that same courage bubbling within him. He raised his hand, signaling the crowd to focus on Aaliyah, whose voice rang out again. "This land has witnessed generations of our lives. We will not be silenced." The crowd echoed her sentiment. "No more!" shouted one of the older men, his voice hoarse but resolute. Another added, "Fight for our homes." As tension mounted, Jamal noticed Malik moving to the forefront, preparing to confront the developers directly. "Stay behind me," he instructed, glancing back at Jamal and Aaliyah. The developers approached with indifference, as if they were accustomed to challenges but had no real concern for the lives at stake. One man, sleek and meticulously dressed, stepped forward. "This is just business, nothing personal. You have to understand that change is necessary for progress." "Progress?" Aaliyah shot back, eyes narrowed. "Progress for whom? You don't live here. You don't know what this community means." Jamal felt the air thicken with emotions, frustration tinged with desperation. He carefully stepped out from behind Malik, his voice trembling but firm. "What you call progress is tearing apart the lifeblood of this place. How can you justify ripping families from their roots?" The man's expression shifted, surprised by Jamal's direct challenge. You think your voices matter? Look around. This is about economic growth. You can't stop it. But we will, Malik declared, his confidence rallying the crowd. We have the right to stand against decisions that jeopardize our lives. We're not just statistics. We are family, friends, and neighbors. We matter. A chorus of anger and support stirred within the crowd. Jamal felt the strength of collective voices rising, interwoven with fear, hope, and unwavering solidarity. But his heart clenched. He sensed an undercurrent of unease even among his own people. They were all preparing for confrontation, yet within him, doubt mingled like a shadow creeping closer. When a tall woman stepped forward, her voice softened yet powerful. Maybe it's not just about our homes, maybe this is bigger than any of us. She took a deep breath, glancing across the crowd. What if we show them what real community looks like? We don't have to just fight. We can also unite. Aaliyah placed her hand on Jamal's arm, her eyes brightening. She's right. If they want to bulldoze, let us give them a reason to reflect. We can organize. We can show them our stories, our lives. As excitement stirred, Jamal could see why they had to press on. It was about more than just fighting back. It was about resurrecting a sense of belonging. He turned to Aaliyah, realizing this fight could bring revelations not only about their community, but about their own hearts. What if we bring our stories to life? Show them through art, through music, through the truth of our lives? Exactly, Aaliyah replied, the spark of inspiration blazing across her face. Let us make them see us. Not just our homes, our community, but us. The crowd murmured with renewed passion and the developers shifted uncomfortably, the breeze brushing past them. Jamal could sense they had stepped into uncharted territory. They were not just standing against the storm. They were ready to create a tempest of reality that could shake the foundations of indifference. But Jamal couldn't shake the thought, lurking like a shadow in his mind, what awaited them if they unveiled their true selves? Would it strengthen their bond, or would it reveal cracks that had long remained hidden? As they formed plans and rallied hope, one question loomed larger in Jamal's heart. Were they truly ready for what they were about to uncover together? The night was electric. Jamal felt the weight of anticipation pressing down on his shoulders as the crowd buzzed with energy. The ideas born from their collective despair were now transforming into something powerful. He caught Aaliyah's eye, the light in her gaze offering a hint of reassurance. They had a plan, one that could not only protect their community but breathe life into its very soul. Let us meet at the community center tomorrow, she suggested, her voice rising above the murmurs. We can brainstorm ideas, stories, art, music, everything that represents us. As if on cue, Malik stepped forward, his deep voice steady. Let us make this a celebration of who we are. We show them our hearts, and that can't be bulldozed. The crowd erupted in a series of cheers and claps, igniting a spark that sent adrenaline rushing through Jamal's veins. They were no longer just a bunch of anxious neighbors. They were allies ready to reclaim their narrative. Think about it, Aaliyah continued, pacing slowly back and forth as she addressed the crowd. Each of us has a story that reflects what this community means. We can paint murals, write songs, perform skits. We'll gather people of all ages to contribute. Our culture runs deep, and they need to understand that before they can even think about building over it. Yeah, came a voice from the back, a young girl holding her mother's hand. We can bring our grandparents too. They have the best stories. A wave of agreement surged through the group. Jamal could sense a new spirit rising among them, one of resilience and creativity. But beneath the surface of excitement, Jamal felt that gnawing doubt resurface. What if they poured their heart and souls into this project, only to have it disregarded? Would it be enough to sway the developers or just fuel their resolve to push through? He shook his head slightly, trying to focus on the now rather than the what-ifs. As the night wore on, ideas began to take flight, each more vibrant than the last. People volunteered to create banners, organize talent showcases, and even organize a potluck to connect their culinary stories. Jamal felt their unity strengthening, yet his mind remained occupied by the impending confrontation. Before long, They broke off into groups, each focused on a different aspect of their project. As laughter and voices filled the park, Jamal found himself standing beside Aaliyah. He caught her eye and said, "This could be bigger than either of us imagined. This could help people feel seen again." "Exactly," she replied, hands animated as she spoke. "We're not just fighting for our homes, we're showcasing our history. They can't pave over our past. It has to matter." For a fleeting moment, Jamal felt a flicker of hope. But then, like a dark cloud, his earlier fear crept back in. He wondered, would they find acceptance and understanding or merely face the cold shoulders of indifference? What if they don't care? Jamal's voice cracked slightly. Aaliyah's expression softened. "Then we show them, more than ever, why they should," she said, her voice unwavering. "Because every moment we spend together, every story we share that isn't just a battle against the developers. It's a declaration of our identity." Jamal nodded, beginning to believe her. Still, as the energy swirled around him, he could not ignore the deeper worry that tugged at his heartstrings. As they discussed the following day's meetings, Jamal stole glances at their surrounding community, the laughter of children, the warmth of shared meals, the older folks sharing stories under the flickering streetlight. All of it was beautiful. But sensing the looming threat, he couldn't help but ask himself, would they really unite, or would they crumble under the weight of truth? The next morning would come fast, with its share of challenges and revelations. And Jamal couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was about to unfold. Would their bond be enough to withstand the storm, or would they discover fractures in the very foundation of their community? The answers were waiting just out of reach. The sun rose bright and bold, casting a warm glow over the community center. Jamal arrived early, the wooden door creaking as it swung open. He stepped inside, the smell of fresh paint and old wood filling his nostrils. It felt like stepping into a time capsule of their community's history, a space that carried stories of struggle and joy. He set up a few chairs and arranged tables in a welcoming shape. His heart pounded in anticipation of the day ahead. Soon enough, familiar faces trickled in: Aaliyah, Malik, and the young girl who'd spoken up the night before, her wide eyes gleaming with hope. They all came bearing tools, brushes, notebooks, instruments, and food for the potluck. There was laughter, camaraderie, and a palpable sense of purpose swirling in the air. "Okay, everyone, come gather around." Aaliyah clapped her hands, her enthusiasm contagious. The conversations grew quieter as the group formed a circle. Jamal watched her. She was igniting a fire in them all, a shared vision that felt exhilarating. She began to outline their plan. "We're going to break into groups. Each group will tackle a different part of our project: art, stories, music, you name it. By the end of the day, we want to have something tangible, a presentation that tells the rich narrative of our community." Everyone nodded, smiles breaking out across faces, but Jamal could still feel that pinching doubt in his stomach. What if their efforts went unnoticed? What if the outside world viewed this as mere noise when their home was on the line? He took a deep breath, trying to silence the worries creeping in. The organization was swift, and as Jamal moved between groups, the creative energy buzzed like electricity. Aaliyah worked with the art team, sketching ideas for murals that would tell their story, while Malik played his guitar, crafting melodies that would echo their struggles and triumphs. Jamal joined a group that was focused on storytelling's power. As he listened to stories shared, energy surged through him. One woman spoke about how her grandmother had fought to keep their home when they were kids. Another man recounted evenings spent laughing in the community garden, where everyone shared a piece of themselves. Each story was a thread, intricately woven into the tapestry of their collective history. "Remember," Jamal said, his voice breaking through the heartfelt exchanges, "we need to channel this into something they can't ignore. Each of these tales has weight. Let us figure out how to present them not just to our community but to those who seek to erase us." His words hung in the air as heads nodded in agreement. They were all fired up, a wave of determination washed over them. Hours flew by. Laughter mingled with serious discussions about the message they wanted to send. But with every joyous moment, Jamal couldn't shake the gnawing fear that something beyond their control could ruin it. They crafted something beautiful, but would it matter? Would it reach the hearts of those who held the power? As the sun began to set, they gathered all their creations in the center of the room, an artful explosion of color and sound. Jamal felt the pressure building. There was something significant about this moment, a mix of joy and trepidation. With the showcase only a day away, Jamal stared at the vibrant collage they had created, feeling both pride and doubt intertwining within him. And yet a single thought broke through: this was what they had to do. Would their passion be enough to challenge the forces against them, or would their unity be tested in ways they couldn't imagine? The night loomed ahead, thick with uncertainty, promising answers that would change everything. The night felt heavy as Jamal lay awake, the shadows of doubt creeping closer. The faint sounds of laughter and chatter from the community center still echoed in his mind, but they were soon drowned out by questions. What if tomorrow brought failure? What if no one listened? As he rolled onto his side, the worries tangled in his chest, squeezing tight like a vice. By morning, Jamal could feel an electric energy thrumming in the air. People began trickling into the center once more, faces illuminated with excitement, each breath drawing them closer to the moment they had been building up to. He rubbed his eyes, attempting to settle his rising heart rate. Aaliyah was already there, pacing back and forth, rehearsing her lines. "Jamal, what do you think?" she asked, her brow furrowed. "Am I coming on too strong?" "No, not at all," he replied, forcing a smile to break through his unease. "You're perfect. Just the kind of voice we need." Aaliyah nodded, though he could see the lingering anxiety in her eyes as each member of their group arrived, clutching their contributions like gifts of hope. Malik was setting up his guitar in the corner, testing the strings with soft strumming. The young girl, Maya, flipped through her notebook, wide eyes sparkling, ready to share her story with the world. They gathered again in a circle, and Jamal felt the weight of their collective dreams wrap around them. This was more than just a presentation. It was their history, their very lives woven into the stories they shared. He felt himself begin to swell with pride as Aaliyah spoke. "As we face an uncertain future, let this be our voice," she urged. "Let it echo beyond these walls." Each individual stepped forward to speak or share their work, but tension hung in the air like a storm about to break. Jamal watched as Maya took a deep breath and recounted her story, the struggle of her family finding a place to belong, the laughter that still filled their home against all odds. Tears glimmered in the corners of Jamal's eyes. Her words touched something deep inside him, a reminder of why they were here fighting. It reminded him that they were anchored not just by fear but by love, family love, community love, a powerful force that could not be easily dismissed. "But what happens when our voices aren't heard?" Jamal said suddenly, feeling the urge to bring their focus back. "What if they close their ears to the truths we lay before them?" The room fell silent. Faces turned serious as they contemplated his words. Would they truly be able to break through the noise of indifference outside their bubble? Finally, Malik broke the silence, strumming his guitar. "We'll do it through connection," he declared. "Music and stories, they touch hearts." In courage, they pressed on, practicing until the sun dipped low again. Their presentation was growing sharper, more unified, yet each rehearsal only intensified Jamal's doubts. Could their passion shine bright enough to pierce the walls built around their community's struggles? With the showtime now at their doorstep, Jamal caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. He took a deep breath. Change didn't come easy, and real strength often lay in vulnerability. As they gathered, hearts pounding and anticipation thick, Jamal voiced what weighed on all their minds. "We have one chance to show them our hearts, our stories. No matter the outcome, this is our moment." He could see the flicker of determination in their eyes, even in the face of uncertainty. They stepped towards the stage, a collective heartbeat echoing in unison. Just as they began, a loud crash rang out from the lobby, jolting them with a mix of fear and surprise. "What was that?" Aaliyah gasped, eyes wide. With their presentation about to begin, Jamal turned, the weight of the world on his shoulders. Was this going to be the challenge that tests their unity? Or something even more menacing? The commotion outside intensified, growing louder than the vibrant hope pulsing through the community center. Jamal exchanged worried glances with Aliyah and Malik. He felt the air turn thick with uncertainty, as if a storm was brewing just beyond the doors. Everyone's anticipation shifted into an anxious energy, hearts pounding in sync. "Stay here," Jamal instructed the group, his voice steady despite the rising dread. He stepped forward, Aliyah and Malik at his side. They navigated through the crowd, pushing open the door that led to the lobby. The scene unfolded like a movie, angry voices clashing with concerned shouts as individuals gathered in knots around a chaotic resident, Mr. Thompson, who stood with unease etched across his face. "Jamal! They're trying to intimidate us!" Mr. Thompson yelled, pointing at the group of developers milling outside, cameras poised and ready. The developers smirked, their sleek attire contrasting sharply with the raw spirit of community surrounding Jamal and his people. "They threatened to sue the community if we don't disperse." Tension wrapped around Jamal like a tightening coil. "We can't let fear win," he shouted back, finding the courage to push through the crowd. "Listen to me." The murmurs quieted as all eyes turned to him. "We've come too far. This is our moment. We've fought for our stories and our homes. We won't just roll over." The flames of indignation ignited within him. "If they want to fight, let us show them who we are." Aliyah stepped beside him, determination radiating from her. "Together," she shouted, "we vow to stand for our community. We refuse to be silenced or intimidated." Cheers erupted, the air buzzing with a powerful, shared resolve. Jamal felt the unity wrap around him like a warm embrace, pushing back against the looming threats. Everyone's fears were still there, but now they blended into something more, a fierce determination to claim their space. The small band of developers, with their questionable tactics, was met with a chorus of voices raised high in unison. Mr. Thompson moved forward, emboldened. "We have the right to challenge you. You may have money, but we have community, love, and history. That's something you can't buy." The developers exchanged looks of disbelief, their confidence quaking as several residents stepped forward in solidarity, ready to tell their stories on the spot if necessary. Malik strummed his guitar, soft at first but rising to match the fervor. Each chord became a lifeline, reminding people of the joy woven through their community fabric. "This is more than just a land deal. It's our lives," Jamal shouted, stepping closer as the crowd roared their agreement. They stood shoulder to shoulder, sharing tales of their past, a rich tapestry comprised of tears, laughter, and resilience. Each story that surged within the community became an anthem, a defiance against the looming shadows. Aliyah addressed the developers with fierce passion. "You think you can erase us, but you underestimate our bond. We are love made visible." As confessions filled the air, Jamal felt a shift. Each narrative, each word spoken, pierced the armor around the developers. The community's spirit transformed fear into resolve, empowered by the unseen force of their collective histories. He glanced at Aliyah, their eyes locking, unspoken emotion swirling in that shared gaze, a fire kindling as the crowd resonated with their pain and hope, making the developers realize they were pressing against an unstoppable wave. "We'll showcase who we are, what we stand for, and if you won't listen, we will make you," Jamal proclaimed. "Through art, through music, through every voice in this community." They watched as the development team's facade cracked, uncertainly shifting under the intensity of the moment. The tide had turned. Jamal realized that what began as a struggle for survival was now a fight to reclaim not just homes but hearts, identities, hopes, and dreams. The developers hesitated, a mix of disbelief and reluctance settling over them. The community pulsed with shared energy, ignited with creativity and unity. In that moment, Jamal saw a glimmer of a future. The dreams splashed across walls, songs filling long silent spaces, stories told and retold, a vibrant celebration of resilience. With every voice that rose, hope soared, and the once menacing threat faded. They wouldn't be brushed aside. They would embrace their heritage, their future, and their stories would echo long after the last chord was strummed. As they stood together, Jamal could feel the strands of the community weaving tighter. There was love and support, a legacy they would protect at all costs. And with Aaliyah by his side, leading alongside him, he felt ready to face what lay ahead. In the powerful aftermath, when silence held the room like a deep breath waiting to be released, Jamal spoke from the heart. This is our home, grounded in our truth, a truth that will triumph. They would not fade into the shadows. They had the strength of 100 voices, 1,000 dreams, and boundless love. They were ready for whatever came next. Before they returned to the center, Jamal turned to Aaliyah, reaching for her hand. An acknowledgement of their journey both together and separate. No matter the uncertainties ahead, he saw in her the reflection of what they had built and where they could go, side by side. Let us do this, he said softly, heart resolute. Together, she replied, a radiant smile breaking across her face, and that was enough to light their way forward. Now, it was their time to shine. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the incredible journey this community is about to undertake. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help this story reach those who need to hear it. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let us celebrate together. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support makes all the difference.